Before the night fully settles around you, before your thoughts drift too far from the present moment, let me ask you something softly. When was the last time a single moment of light made you pause? If a memory just appeared, even a small one, tell me in the comments. I'd love to know what your mind chose to remember first. As you rest here, let your eyes grow heavy and your breath slow. A gentle glow begins to rise in the darkness, not bright, not demanding, just a quiet reminder that the universe is still moving. Light has traveled billions of years just to reach this moment with you. And if you're here, listening, you're already part of that journey. Before we follow that glow deeper, take a soft second to tap like and subscribe. Not because you have to, but because this small glow we're about to explore will return to you again and again. And subscribing keeps that light close whenever you need calm. Now, imagine that ancient glow drifting closer. It carries secrets, beautiful ones, about how light bends, hides, reveals, and shapes your memories. Each secret is gently connected to the next, forming a path that you and I will walk together. And every time you reach one answer, another quiet question opens, pulling you forward without effort. So stay with me. Every minute from here on will unfold something softer, something deeper. And by the time the last glow fades, you may find that you've drifted into sleep, with the universe still whispering its light around you. There is a gentle moment before the world fully wakes, when light begins to arrive without announcing itself. It slips quietly through the soft edges of the morning, touching surfaces as if it already knows the way. It gathers in corners, stretches across walls, and settles like a calm breath over everything still half asleep. Even before we try to understand it, we feel its presence shaping the beginning of the day. And in that quiet glow, something inside us softens, as though the world has decided to start again without rushing. Light moves with a grace that hides its mystery. It turns shadows into shapes, colors into something alive, and the air into a drifting sea of tiny golden motes. It never asks for attention, yet it guides our eyes to whatever it touches. A cup on a table, a pattern on the floor, a face resting on a pillow, everything appears gentler beneath its first touch. And for a moment, the world seems held together by nothing more than a silent glow. Yet light remains unknowable in a way that feels comforting. It appears every morning and fades every night, keeping its secrets tucked behind its softness. We see it, we feel it, but we never quite catch it. Still, it moves with purpose, leaving us wondering how something so delicate can shape everything we know. And in that quiet wonder, a question rises like a whisper. If light feels so peaceful on the surface, what story might it be carrying beneath its glow? Somewhere deep, inside the heart of a star, where pressure folds space into unimaginable heat, a tiny spark of light is born. At first, it cannot move freely. It collides, tumbles, and dances in chaos, pushed in every direction as though the universe is shaping it with countless hands. What begins as a momentary flicker becomes a traveler, slowly making its way outward through layers of fire and timeless pressure. And even in this distant place, the journey of a photon carries a quiet beauty, hidden far from any watching eye. For thousands of years, maybe more, it tries to escape the dense heart of its birthplace. Each step is slow, almost hesitant, as if light itself is learning how to move, and when it finally breaks free, stepping into the open expanse beyond the star's surface, The world around it changes instantly. What once felt heavy becomes effortless. What was once a struggle becomes a glide. Now the photon travels through space with a grace so smooth that it almost feels like drifting. It moves without tiring, without slowing, without aging, crossing distances so vast that they blur into silence. And yet, somewhere along that endless path, the light that began in the star's deepest core might gently brush across your skin or shimmer in your room one quiet morning. It's strange to think how long such a simple glow has traveled just to reach this moment. And stranger still, to imagine what stories it has passed through along the way, moving silently toward the next mystery waiting in its path. There is something almost unreal about the way light moves. It crosses impossible distances without slowing, without resting, as if the universe designed it to glide forever. Imagine a traveler that feels no weight, no resistance, no sense of time passing. For light, every journey is instantaneous. The moment it begins, it has already arrived. And in that strange truth, there is a softness, a gentle reminder that not everything in the cosmos is bound by the same limits we carry. When we picture light moving through space, we often imagine a beam stretching across a dark sky. But light doesn't stretch or strain. It simply exists in motion, untouched by fatigue. If it were possible to ride alongside it, time itself would fade into a quiet pause. Seconds would stop forming, moments would fall away, everything would settle into a single, eternal now, and in that stillness, the universe would look different, calmer, quieter, almost suspended. Yet even with this effortless nature, light is never careless. It reaches us with perfect consistency, carrying warmth, color, and information across distances that would overwhelm anything else. A single photon can travel for billions of years, yet arrive without the slightest sign of age. There is something comforting in that endurance, a sense that light is always moving toward us, even when the world feels dark. And somewhere in that timeless motion lies a gentle question. If light can cross the universe without tiring, what stories does it gather along the way, and how many more remain hidden within its endless journey? At first glance, white light seems simple, almost plain, like the default glow of the world. But hidden inside that calm brightness is an entire spectrum waiting to reveal itself. Every shade we have ever known, soft blues, warm oranges, deep reds, sleeps quietly within that single beam, folded together like threads of a woven tapestry. When we look at white light, we are really looking at countless colors traveling side by side, each with its own tiny story. It takes only a small shift, a single moment of bending or slowing, for these colors to separate. A droplet of rain hanging in the air, a smooth piece of glass, the surface of a thin bubble, each becomes a gentle doorway, letting the hidden hues slip outward. And just like that, the sky fills with a rainbow, soft and delicate, reminding us that even the simplest things contain more than we expect. Seeing colors emerge from white light feels like watching a quiet secret unfold. Red drifts to one side, blue to the other, each moving at its own pace. They stretch, blend, and shimmer, revealing what was always there but never visible. It is a small miracle of nature, one so familiar that we sometimes forget how extraordinary it is. And as we watch these colors dance into view, a question naturally rises. If white light contains every shade we can see, how many more exist beyond the ones we recognize, waiting for just the right moment to appear. There is a quiet artistry, the way light touches the world. It has no hands, no brush, no intention, yet it paints everything we see with a softness that feels almost deliberate. When morning light drifts through a window, it lays itself over surfaces like a thin veil, turning simple textures into gentle landscapes. A wooden table becomes warm and golden. A wall becomes a canvas of shifting patterns. Even the air seems to shimmer as light passes through it, carrying the faint suggestion of color. Light does not choose what it paints, yet its presence transforms the ordinary. A shadow stretching across a floor becomes a gentle reminder of depth. A leaf lit from behind glows with hidden veins, like a small map of nature's secrets. And when the sun begins to set, the world turns into a slow-moving gallery of soft oranges and fading purples, as though light is signing its name before stepping away for the night. What makes this quiet artistry so calming is the way it changes without rushing. Light moves with patience, sliding from one moment to the next, shaping the world in strokes so smooth we rarely notice them happening. But when we pause long enough to look, we see how every glow and every shadow adds meaning to the scene around us. And in the middle of that soft transformation, a thought begins to form. If light can paint the world so beautifully without trying, what hidden patterns might we uncover if we looked just a little closer? Light has a way of moving that feels both delicate and powerful, especially when it bends. At first, it seems impossible for something so fast and effortless to change direction, yet it does so with a grace softer than a whisper. When light passes from air into water, or from one material into another, it gently curves, as if adjusting its path to accommodate the world around it. There is no strain, no harsh angle, just a quiet shift, a natural redirection. This bending, called refraction, is one of light's most subtle talents. It is why a straw in a glass of water looks bent, why lenses can focus images, why rainbows appear after storms. But beyond the science, there is something soothing in the idea itself. Light bends, not because it is forced to, but because it adapts. It changes its course without breaking, like a river flowing around a rock, finding a new way forward while remaining entirely itself. Watching light bend is like watching a decision being made gently. It curves toward the path of least resistance, slipping into a new direction as though it always belonged there. And in that small motion lies a soft reminder. Sometimes the most beautiful changes are the ones that happen naturally, without conflict. As light adjusts its path, it opens the door to countless shapes, colors, and illusions. And somewhere in that simple bend, a quiet question lingers. If light can shift so gracefully, what other hidden behaviors might be waiting just beyond what our eyes can see? There is a gentle mystery in the places where light does not reach. Shadows gather softly, collecting in corners and beneath objects, forming shapes that shift with every subtle movement of the world. They seem like empty spaces, like quiet pockets where nothing exists. Yet shadows are not an absence at all. They are simply the places where light pauses, where it chooses not to go, leaving behind a calm reminder of contrast. When you watch a shadow stretch across a room, you can almost feel its quiet presence. It doesn't rush or flicker. It moves with the same gentle pace as the light that shapes it. A hand lifted in sunlight creates a soft silhouette on the wall, a drifting outline that changes with the slightest motion. And within that outline lies a strange beauty, light revealing its own path by showing where it cannot reach. Shadows offer the world a sense of depth. They soften edges, cool, warm spaces, and give every object a place to rest. Without them, the world would feel flat and overwhelming, filled with nothing but brightness. Shadows bring balance, a calm counterweight to the glow of the day. And yet, for all their quiet nature, shadows hint at something more. They remind us that even light has boundaries, small mysteries it chooses to leave untouched. And as we watch a shadow settle into stillness, another thought arises gently. If some places remain hidden from the glow, what kinds of light might exist that move through spaces even shadows cannot follow? It's easy to believe that the light we see is all the light that exists, but most of it remains invisible, moving quietly around us like a secret language. Beyond the gentle glow of the visible spectrum lies a world of hidden waves, infrared warmth, ultraviolet shimmer, radio waves carrying whispers across continents. These forms of light drift through the air without ever touching our eyes, yet they shape our experience in ways we rarely recognize. Infrared light warms our skin on cool mornings, even though we never see its glow. Ultraviolet light paints patterns on flowers that guide bees, revealing colors that exist far beyond human perception. Radio waves carry music, messages, stories, traveling through walls and reaching us without ever asking to be noticed. This unseen light weaves itself into our lives like a quiet companion, always present, always moving. When we pause to imagine it, the world becomes wider. Every space around us is filled with gentle motion, layers of silent illumination crossing paths in the air. A room that feels empty is actually alive with countless invisible rhythms, each one passing through effortlessly, leaving no trace except the effects we feel. Knowing this adds a sense of wonder to ordinary moments. A simple morning, a walk outside, the hum of a quiet night. All of them carry invisible colors that never reach the eye but still shape the world softly. And somewhere in that hidden glow, a curious thought forms. If so much light moves unseen around us, how much more of the universe is quietly waiting, just beyond the reach of our vision? Far beyond the familiar comfort of our sky, light begins journeys so long that they blur the meaning of time. A single photon leaving a distant star may travel for millions, even billions of years before reaching us. It drifts across silent stretches of space, untouched by age, moving with the same soft persistence it had the moment it was born. And when it finally arrives, it slips through the darkness and settles gently into our eyes, carrying with it the quiet history of places we may never see. Imagine that, light traveling through the vastness of space, weaving between drifting clouds of dust, passing silent worlds, brushing the edges of distant galaxies. All the while, it moves with no sound, no struggle, just an endless glide through the cosmic dark. And in that smooth journey, it collects stories written in starlight. Stories older than every mountain, every ocean, every sunrise we have ever known. When we look at the night sky, we are not seeing stars as they are now, but as they once were, long before we existed. Each point of light is a soft message from the past, arriving at the perfect moment to meet us. And for a breath, the distance doesn't matter. The universe feels close enough to touch. There is something soothing in that thought, the idea that ancient light finds its way across unimaginable emptiness simply to appear in our quiet night. And in its gentle arrival, a question flickers softly. If starlight can travel so far to reach us, what other distant stories might still be on their way right now? Even in the most ordinary moments, light moves through your life with a softness that often goes unnoticed. It fills your room through a half-open window, reflects gently from a quiet lamp on your desk, and settles in warm pools across the floor. These small glows shape the rhythm of your day. They soften mornings, calm evenings, and remind you, without a single sound, that the world is still turning quietly around you. Look around any room and you'll see the subtle way light works. A line of brightness along a shelf, a warm shimmer on a cup, the soft shadow of your hand resting nearby, each one a small painting created in real time. Even the glow of a simple screen carries its own quiet presence, illuminating your face with a calm, steady hue. Light makes familiar spaces feel alive, even when everything else is still. Step outside, and the world reveals even more. Sunlight slipping between branches, reflections dancing on the surface of water, the soft blue of the afternoon sky settling into your thoughts. Every part of your everyday life is touched by light, shaped by it, colored by it, even when you don't think about it. And yet, for all its familiarity, light remains gentle in its mystery. It asks for nothing, explains nothing, but guides your eyes, your mood, your sense of place. It carries warmth when you need comfort and settles into dim corners when the day begins to slow. And as you breathe in that quiet glow, a soft curiosity begins to rise. If the light around you feels this peaceful, what deeper secrets might unfold when we look even closer? There is a quiet elegance in imagining light as a wave, not a crashing wave or a turbulent one, but something softer, like ripples moving gently across a still lake. When light travels as a wave, it spreads out gracefully, touching everything in its path with a calm and steady rhythm. It moves in patterns so smooth that if you could watch them unfold slowly enough, they would look like the universe breathing in long, peaceful cycles. Picture a beam of light traveling through space. It doesn't rush or tremble. It flows, stretching and curving, carrying energy the way a soft breeze carries the scent of a distant flower. These waves overlap, blend, and pass through one another without ever disturbing the harmony around them. They form a silent dance where every motion is balanced, every rise and fall perfectly measured. Even the colors we see are expressions of these waves. Longer waves bring warm reds and gentle oranges, while shorter waves drift into cool blues and soft violets. The world becomes a painting shaped by invisible rhythms, each color a note in a quiet symphony of motion. It feels almost poetic, light, creating beauty simply by moving. And yet, for all its softness, this wave-like behavior hides something deeper, something that makes light even more mysterious. Because light does not always act like a wave. Sometimes it behaves like tiny particles traveling straight and fast, as if it has a second personality tucked within its glow. And as you let that thought settle, a gentle question rises. How can something so delicate move in two completely different ways at once? Now imagine light in an entirely different form, not as a wave drifting gently across space, but as countless tiny messengers traveling with purpose. Each one is called a photon, a small packet of energy so delicate that it carries no mass, no weight, yet moves with incredible speed. If you picture them closely, You might imagine soft sparks drifting through the dark, each with a quiet intention, each a traveler on its own silent path. Photons do not spread out like waves. They move forward, sharp and certain, as though they know exactly where they need to go. When a photon leaves a star, it sets out alone, crossing unimaginable distances without slowing for even a moment. And when it reaches your eyes, it becomes a simple flash of perception, a moment of brightness, a single point of light transformed into sight. What makes this behavior so fascinating is the contrast. The same light that once flowed like a gentle wave now arrives as a tiny, precise particle. It carries information, warmth, and color in the smallest possible form, as if the universe designed a perfect balance between softness and focus. Even the warmth you feel from sunlight is delivered one photon at a time, each touch gentle but full of purpose. And somewhere between these two identities, wave and particle, light holds its deepest mystery. It can be both at once, shifting between forms depending on how we choose to observe it. And as this thought drifts through your mind, a quiet curiosity lingers. If light can behave like both a wave and a particle, what other hidden truths might it reveal when we look a little closer? There is a quiet wonder in the idea that light can exist in two forms at once. It behaves like a wave, soft, continuous, flowing, and yet it also behaves like a particle, sharp and precise, arriving in perfect little packets. This duality is not a contradiction. It is a harmony, a balance woven into the fabric of the universe. And when you imagine both sides working together, light becomes even more extraordinary than before. It is as though light carries two personalities within a single existence. Sometimes it spreads wide, filling space with gentle ripples of energy. Other times, it travels like a solitary traveler, a single photon gliding through the dark. Neither form is more real than the other. Both are always present, hidden beneath what we see. This duality gives light the freedom to move in ways nothing else can. It can interfere with itself like a wave, yet still strike a surface like a particle. It can fill a room with glow and then deliver warmth to your skin, one tiny messenger at a time. It adapts, shifts, and transforms, choosing moments to reveal different sides of itself with seamless grace. There is something peaceful in recognizing that light does not need to be one thing or the other. It can be both. It can be everything at once. And perhaps that is why it feels so natural, so familiar, because it mirrors the complexity within us, the quiet truth that we too hold many sides that appear depending on where we stand. And as this thought settles softly, another question rises like a gentle ripple. If light carries such graceful duality, what mysteries unfold when we try to watch it more closely? When you picture a wave moving across water, you can imagine ripples meeting and merging, creating new patterns where they overlap. Light behaves in much the same way. When two beams cross paths, they blend and reshape each other, forming delicate patterns of brightness and dimness, as if they are weaving a quiet tapestry of motion. But the most astonishing part is this: light does not need a second beam to create such patterns. It can interfere with itself. Imagine a single beam of light passing through two narrow openings, like two thin windows standing side by side. Instead of choosing one path or the other, light spreads into both. It divides gently, as though it becomes two versions of itself, moving forward in perfect harmony. And when these two versions meet again, they overlap, blending into a pattern of soft and dark stripes, an intricate signature of light's wave-like nature. This interference is a whisper of a deeper truth. Light behaves as though it can be in more than one place at once. It is a quiet reminder that the universe often moves in ways our minds were never trained to expect. Yet nothing about it feels chaotic. The patterns are smooth, elegant, and perfectly predictable, like a calm conversation between two reflections of the same being. And somewhere within that delicate interaction lies a question that stirs softly in the air. If light can divide and reunite with such effortless grace, what happens when we try to watch this process unfold? There is a gentle strangeness in the idea that simply watching something can change what it becomes. Yet light behaves exactly this way. When it moves freely, unobserved, it spreads out like a smooth wave, drifting through space with effortless grace. But the moment we try to measure it, to watch its path too closely, it shifts. It stops acting like a wave and behaves like a tiny particle instead, as if our attention reshapes its very nature. Imagine a quiet beam of light moving toward a thin barrier with two narrow openings. Left alone, it passes through both at the same time, forming soft, rippling patterns beyond the wall. But if we place a detector to watch which opening it chooses, the patterns disappear. Light chooses only one path, as though it becomes shy under observation. The wave collapses into a single decision, like a gentle whisper turning into a single precise note. This delicate shift feels almost personal. It hints that the act of observing, of simply being present, encourages the universe to settle into one form instead of many. Light seems to adjust its behavior to match what we look for, revealing only the face we expect to see. There is something peaceful in this mystery. It reminds us that the universe is not always rigid or predictable. Some moments change depending on how closely we hold them, and somewhere in this soft transformation, a quiet curiosity forms. If watching light can alter its path, what does that say about the unseen connections between awareness and the world unfolding around us? It's easy to imagine that movement requires something to push against. A road beneath our feet, wind beneath a bird's wing, water beneath a drifting boat. But light is different. It needs nothing at all. It travels through the pure emptiness of space, gliding across vast distances where no air, no sound, no matter exists. In that silent darkness, light moves freely, unburdened, untouched by resistance. Picture the space between stars, an endless stretch of quiet, colder than anything on Earth, emptier than any place we can imagine. Yet through this stillness, light crosses with perfect ease. It does not slow, does not fade, does not wait. It simply continues, carrying warmth and color and information across a universe too large for words. Even in absolute emptiness, where everything else would stand still, light remains in motion. This effortless travel makes light feel almost alive, like a messenger designed to reach wherever it is needed. Because it does not require a medium, it can bridge impossible distances, connecting galaxies, revealing the past, illuminating worlds separated by unimaginable space. It slips through the void the way a gentle thought drifts through a quiet mind, calm, weightless, unstoppable. And yet, despite its speed, there is no rush in the way light moves. It glides with perfect consistency, a steady stream flowing through nothingness. It offers a strange comfort, the idea that even in the emptiest places, something still moves, still travels, still reaches out. And as this image settles softly in your mind, one question lingers like a distant glow. What deeper rules guide this silent traveler carrying light through a universe that gives it nothing to hold on to? There is a quiet rule woven into the fabric of the universe, a rule so simple yet so absolute that nothing can break it. Light moves at a speed that nothing else can exceed. Not the fastest comet, not the strongest burst of energy, not even the deepest force hidden in the cosmos. This speed, constant, unwavering, acts like a soft boundary that shapes the very structure of time and space. Imagine a traveler moving so fast that everything else appears frozen. That is the world light glides through. It does not speed up or slow down. It remains perfectly steady, as though the universe has given it a rhythm that never falters. No matter where it travels, through air, space, or the deepest void, it keeps the same pace, the same calm persistence. This limit is more than a number. It is a quiet anchor for reality itself. Because light's speed is fixed, time can stretch, space can bend, and the universe can keep its balance. It is the rule that allows stars to shine, galaxies to form, and life to understand anything at all. Without it, the world would feel unsteady, shifting without reason, uncertain in every direction. There is a strange comfort in this constancy. Light becomes a reminder that even in a universe filled with mystery, some things remain steady enough to trust. It offers a gentle sense of order, a whisper of structure beneath the infinite. And as you let that thought rest in your mind, another question rises softly. If this speed shapes the flow of time itself, what happens when something begins to move closer and closer to this cosmic limit? As an object moves faster and faster, nearing the speed of light, something remarkable begins to happen. Time, which usually flows with steady familiarity, starts to stretch and slow. Minutes lengthen, moments widen, and the world around the traveler drifts at a gentler pace. It's as though the universe is carefully adjusting the flow of time, making room for the extraordinary motion unfolding within it. Imagine drifting through space in a ship that accelerates smoothly, approaching that ultimate speed. Outside the windows, stars would appear to shift in ways your eyes have never seen, their light bending slightly as if reaching toward you. But inside, everything would feel calm. Your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts, each would continue at their usual rhythm, unaware of the changes happening beyond your perception. From your perspective, time would seem normal. But for anyone watching from afar, your moments would appear to slow, each second stretching thin like soft light, passing through a prism. The faster you travel, the more pronounced the effect becomes, until time itself seems to hesitate around you. This gentle transformation reveals something beautiful. Time is not fixed. It bends, adjusts, and reshapes itself in response to movement, flowing like a quiet river changing course around a stone. Light does not experience time at all. It travels in a state where past, present, and future compress into a single stillness. And as this idea settles like a soft breath, a new curiosity stirs. If nearing light slows time, what might we discover when we try to imagine the world entirely from light's point of view? Imagine just for a moment what the universe might look like from the perspective of light itself, not through human eyes, not through the limits of our senses, but through the calm, timeless glide of a photon moving across space. For light, There is no waiting, no aging, no passing of hours or years. The moment it begins its journey and the moment it ends are the same, folded together in a single, silent instant. If you could ride alongside a photon, time would lose its meaning. Distances that take millions of years to cross would shrink into nothing. Galaxies separated by unimaginable space would appear close enough to touch. Everything would blend into one continuous presence, like a soft horizon stretching in every direction. The universe would feel less like a place of vast separation and more like a single, gentle motion. In this stillness, the photon doesn't hurry. It doesn't slow. It simply moves, freed from the weight of time. And yet, while it experiences no passing moments, it carries the stories of stars, nebulae, and distant worlds across the cosmos. What feels instant to light becomes a billion-year journey to us. This contrast is a quiet reminder of how differently reality unfolds depending on where we stand. We measure life in seconds and seasons. Light measures nothing at all. It exists in pure motion, untouched by the ticking of time. And as you sit with that thought, a soft curiosity emerges. If light experiences no distance and no delay, what does it truly mean for it to arrive here in this very moment, touching your eyes with its ancient glow? Even in the simplest moments of your day, the strange quantum nature of light moves quietly around you. Every glow from a lamp, every shimmer from a screen, every gentle reflection dancing across a wall is built from countless tiny photons arriving one by one. They come from familiar places, light bulbs, phone screens, small windows, but their behavior still carries the same mystery found in distant stars. Each photon hitting your eye is a tiny event, a single packet of energy completing a journey that may have started in a filament, a diode, or the sun itself. They arrive with precision, forming colors, shapes, and soft brightness that weave your everyday world into clarity. Yet beneath this simple appearance is a quantum dance. Particles acting like waves, waves acting like particles, everything shifting between forms so naturally that you never notice the complexity beneath the calm. Think about a quiet evening room lit by a warm lamp. The glow feels steady and unchanging, but it's really made of uncountable flickers, each photon appearing at just the right moment to create the illusion of a seamless light. Or consider the soft light of a screen, sending coordinated pulses that your eyes interpret as images, movement, and gentle color. In these moments, quantum behavior becomes an unnoticed companion, shaping your environment, guiding your perception, calming your senses. Even the warmth you feel from a simple light source is delivered one photon at a time, each touch delicate, each arrival perfectly timed. And as you let that glow settle into your awareness, a gentle thought arises. If everyday light holds such quiet complexity, what wonders might still wait in the chapters ahead, just beyond the edge of what we can see? There is a quiet language woven into every beam of light, a language made not of words, but of colors. Each shade carries its own meaning, its own gentle message whispered to the world. When light touches an object, it absorbs certain wavelengths and reflects others, revealing colors the eye instantly understands without ever needing to think. Red feels warm, blue feels calm, green feels alive, and yet none of these feelings come from the objects themselves. They come from the silent conversation between light and our senses. Imagine standing in a room filled with soft daylight. The colors around you begin to shift ever so slightly. A wall that looked pale in the morning deepens toward gold as the sun sets. A leaf held near the window flickers with hidden shades the longer you watch it. Even the smallest object changes its story depending on the angle and quality of the light around it. This quiet transformation feels almost intentional, as though light is continuously rewriting the world in gentle strokes. What makes this language so beautiful is its subtlety. You never hear it directly, you simply feel it, an emotional tint washing over your mood as colors drift in and out of view. It is a soft dialogue between the outside world and your inner state, carried entirely by wavelengths you never consciously notice. And as you absorb these shifting hues, a gentle question emerges, settling softly in your thoughts. If colors are part of a hidden language spoken by light, what deeper meanings might be waiting in the waves we have not yet learned to translate? When you look at a bright red flower or a deep blue sky, it feels natural to assume the colors belong to those objects. But in truth, color is simply a wavelength, an invisible rhythm carried by light, reaching your eyes in gentle waves. Red is just a long, stretching wave. Blue is a shorter, quicker one. Every color you see is a different pattern of movement, a soft vibration drifting through the air until it finally meets your senses. Imagine light traveling from the sun toward the earth. Along the way, it dances across countless wavelengths, each one carrying the potential to become a different shade. When this light touches an object, most of the wavelengths sink quietly into its surface. Only one particular rhythm bounces back, traveling toward your eyes like a tiny glowing messenger. Your mind then translates that single wave into a color, creating the illusion that objects themselves are painted in those shades. This understanding adds a gentle strangeness to the world. Nothing is truly red or blue or green. Everything is simply reflecting certain wavelengths while hiding the rest. The colors we see are just echoes of light interacting with matter, tiny clues about the rhythms moving through space. And yet, despite the scientific simplicity, the experience feels far from mechanical. There is warmth in red, calm in blue, clarity in yellow, all built from nothing more than the length of a wave. This quiet truth humbles and comforts at the same time, and as the idea settles, a soft question begins to rise. If color is only a rhythm of light, what wonders unfold when those rhythms reach the eyes that interpret them? Light begins its journey far from you, but its meaning truly starts inside your eyes. When a beam of light enters the pupil, it slows, softens, and spreads across the delicate surface of the retina. Here, in this tiny curved landscape, millions of cells wait quietly, each one ready to catch the faintest spark. These cells, rods and cones, stand like sentinels, transforming invisible wavelengths into the beginnings of vision. Cones awaken in the presence of color. They respond to the warm pull of reds, the gentle calm of greens, the cool hush of blues. Rods, quieter and more sensitive, work in low light, helping you navigate the soft shapes of night. Together, they create a mosaic of perception, turning scattered light into something the mind can hold. The moment a photon touches one of these cells, a tiny electrical signal races inward. It travels through delicate pathways, winding toward the brain like a whisper heading home. What begins as a simple point of brightness becomes a message, a memory in motion, a shape forming, a color blooming into awareness. This entire process happens in silence, faster than thought, smoother than breath. You never feel the transformations taking place, yet they shape everything you see. Even the smallest glimmer, a distant star, a flicker on water, the glow of a candle begins its final journey here in the quiet architecture of your eyes. And as you reflect on this inner world, a gentle curiosity arises. If the eye turns simple light into vision, what role does the mind play in shaping the colors and stories that follow? Once light reaches the brain, something remarkable happens. The electrical signals arriving from the eyes do not yet carry color. They are patterns, pulses, streams of information waiting to be shaped. It is the brain that turns these silent signals into vivid hues. It is the brain that decides what blue feels like, what red means, what green should whisper into your thoughts. Color is not outside in the world. It is created gently, quietly, in the folds of your mind. Imagine how extraordinary that is. The soft sky you see above you, the warm glow of sunset, the vibrant petals of a flower, all of them exist only because your brain chooses to translate certain wavelengths into certain sensations. Without this translation, the world would be shades of brightness and darkness, lacking the emotional depth that color brings. But the brain does more than decode wavelengths. It adds feeling. It wraps color in memory, in warmth, in meaning. A certain shade of yellow may remind you of morning comfort. A deep blue might calm your breath. A soft green may bring back the quiet of a childhood afternoon. These associations are personal, woven through years of moments that shaped you. This is why two people can look at the same color and feel completely different things. The world outside offers the wavelengths, but the mind paints the experience. It creates the final image, turning raw signals into something alive. And as this truth settles inside you, a soft question appears. If color is a creation of the mind, how much of what we see is shaped not by the light around us, but by the stories we carry within? There is a gentle familiarity in warm colors, a softness that seems to settle into the heart before the mind even begins to interpret it. Think of the glow of a candle, the blush of sunset, the quiet warmth of firelight flickering in a dark room. These shades, reds, oranges, deep golds, carry echoes of places where humans have always felt safe. They remind us of warmth, of shelter, of moments spent close to the people we trust. Warm colors feel comforting because they mirror the earliest sources of security our ancestors knew. Long before cities existed, before walls and windows and lamps, people gathered around fire. That glow meant safety from the cold, protection from the dark, connection with others. Even now, that instinct lingers. A warm color settles the breath, loosens the mind, and reminds the body that it is not alone. Watch how warm light softens a room. It turns sharp corners gentle, makes shadows calmer, wraps the space in a quiet embrace. Objects seem closer, more familiar. Even your skin absorbs warm tones differently, reflecting a softness that feels quietly human. There is comfort in these hues because they bring the world a little closer, as though inviting you to rest within their glow. Warm colors do not rush. They do not demand anything. They simply settle where they land, filling spaces with an unspoken reassurance. And as you linger with these tones a little longer, a soft curiosity rises like a warm breath. If these colors wrap us in comfort, what stories do the cooler shades whisper to the quiet parts of the mind? Cool colors carry a different kind of calm, one that feels spacious, quiet, and endlessly gentle. Blues, greens and soft violets stretch across the senses like a distant horizon, opening the mind rather than enclosing it. They remind us of the sky after rain, the stillness of deep water, the quiet sway of leaves in a slow afternoon breeze. These shades do not warm the body, they soothe the soul. Imagine the soft blue of early morning just before the sun climbs high. The world feels hushed as though it is taking a quiet breath. Or picture the deep green of a forest path, where every shadow feels cool and welcoming, a place where thoughts can expand without pressure. Cool colors create distance just enough to let the mind drift, inspiring a feeling of calm clarity. Scientifically, these colors are made of shorter wavelengths, quick, delicate ripples of light, but emotionally, they feel like pauses. They slow the heartbeat, gently guide the breath, and soften the edges of thought. A cool blue room makes you speak more softly. A soft green landscape lowers your shoulders without you noticing. These colors are invitations to relax, to release, to drift into a clearer state of mind. And the beauty of cool colors is that they do not overwhelm. They bring peace by giving space, by offering room for perspective and reflection. They are like quiet whispers from the natural world, encouraging stillness and balance. And as that sense of openness settles within you, another thought rises gently. If warm colors comfort and cool colors calm, what happens when we encounter colors that seem to exist outside everything we know? There are colors you have never seen, shades that do not appear in nature, do not shine from any lamp, and cannot be found in the world around you. These colors live only inside the mind, created through rare combinations of signals and interpretations that the brain weaves together in quiet secrecy. They are sometimes called impossible colors, not because they defy imagination, but because the physical world does not produce them. Imagine looking at a patch of red beside a patch of green, so close together that the boundaries begin to soften. Under the right conditions, your mind tries to interpret both signals at once. Instead of choosing one or blending them into brown, it creates something new, an impossible shade that feels both familiar and foreign. A color that seems to vibrate gently as though it shouldn't exist, yet appears for just a moment before slipping away again. These mind-made hues reveal a strange truth. Color is not a property of objects. It is a language the brain constructs from wavelengths, building experiences from signals that don't always follow simple rules. When the brain is pushed into unique situations, it can create entire shades the eye has never encountered before. It's a reminder that the world you see is only a fraction of what your mind is capable of imagining. And if colors can emerge that have no place in physical reality, then perhaps perception itself is more flexible, more fluid, more creative than it seems. As this thought settles, a soft curiosity begins to rise. If the mind can invent new colors in rare moments, what hidden wonders appear in the natural world that feel just as magical, waiting quietly to be seen? Nature has a way of hiding its rarest colors in places where few people ever look. Some hues appear only in brief moments, like the shimmering edge of a butterfly's wing or the iridescent glow on a beetle's shell. Others hide deep underwater where sunlight barely reaches, glowing softly from creatures that carry their own gentle luminescence. And some are so uncommon that they exist only in special minerals formed under impossible pressures, their shades shifting like whispered secrets. Think of the deep, electric blue found on a morpho butterfly, color created not by pigment, but by microscopic structures reflecting light, or the glowing greens and blues of bioluminescent algae drifting beneath waves at night, turning entire shorelines into living constellations. These natural colors seem to appear from another world, shimmering in ways that feel almost unreal. Rare minerals, too, hold surprising shades: the neon greens of uvarovite, the shifting pink-violet of alexandrite, the haunting blue of benitoite. These colors are born from geological forces far beneath the Earth's surface, where heat and pressure combine in silence. When nature reveals these hues, it does so gently, without spectacle. A flash of iridescence as wings flutter, a soft glow beneath the tide, a stone that changes color with the light of day. These moments remind you that even within the familiar world, there are wonders that feel extraordinary. And as you picture these rare colors shimmering quietly in their hidden corners, another thought rises softly. If nature can create such impossible beauty, what kind of colors might the universe paint across the stars? Far beyond the reach of our hands, stars paint the universe with colors we rarely stop to imagine. Each star carries its own unique palette, shaped by its temperature, age, and the elements burning within it. Some glow in warm, gentle golds. Others radiate cool, sharp blues. A few pulse in deep, fading reds, like embers breathing softly in the cosmic dark. These colors drift toward us across unimaginable distances, carried by light that has traveled for ages before finally touching our eyes. Imagine standing beneath a clear night sky, looking up at those distant points of brightness. Each one seems simple, a tiny dot against the vastness. But if you could see their true colors with perfect clarity, the sky would become a soft ocean of hues. Subtle blues, silver whites, delicate yellows, each one telling a story of the star's inner life. A blue star burns hot and young, full of fierce energy. A red star glows with the slow rhythm of age. Every shade is a quiet signature of its journey. Nebulae, too, paint the cosmos with sweeping strokes of color. Soft pinks from hydrogen, pale greens from oxygen, faint blues from scattered starlight. These gentle clouds hang in space like cosmic watercolor paintings, drifting in serene silence. When the starlight finally reaches Earth, it has crossed such immense distances that it arrives almost as a whisper. Yet even that whisper carries color, carrying the memory of its origin. And as you gaze at these distant hues, a soft thought settles. If the stars can send their colors across the universe, what quiet colors might you carry within yourself, shaped by your own journey? Color is not just something you see, it is something you feel, something your mind quietly gathers and stores in the soft folds of memory. The hues that stay with you are not always the brightest or the rarest. Often, they are the ones tied to moments that shaped you. The warm gold of a childhood morning, the deep blue of a night spent thinking, the pale green of a quiet place where you once felt completely safe. These colors become part of you, woven into the emotional fabric of your life. Your mind holds these shades gently, replaying them in small moments when you least expect it. A soft yellow light might remind you of someone you miss. A calm blue sky might bring a sense of clarity on a heavy day. Even a muted gray can feel comforting when it echoes a memory of stillness. These colors are not tied to objects. They live in your emotional landscape, shaping the way you move through the world. Sometimes the colors you carry inside reveal themselves in your reactions. You may feel drawn to certain hues without knowing why. You may find comfort in warm tones or peace in cool ones because they echo the quiet truths you once lived. They are reminders of the person you were, the person you are, and the person you are becoming. And as you drift through these inner shades, a gentle realization begins to rise. The mind paints its own world, soft and personal, shaped by moments only you have lived. And within those colors lies a deeper story, waiting to unfold as your journey continues. Light moves through the world with a gentleness that feels almost human. It steps softly into every space, settles on every surface, and wraps itself around every shape without leaving a mark. Even when you're not thinking about it, light is tracing the outline of your surroundings, highlighting the grain of a wooden table, gliding over the curve of a cup, catching a dust particle in midair and turning it into a drifting spark. It is everywhere, yet never intrusive. Imagine watching a quiet room as light begins to fill it. With each passing second, the glow changes, shifting across objects like a slow-moving tide. A shadow stretches quietly along the floor. A beam brightens the edge of a picture frame. Even the simplest surface becomes something new under the soft weight of illumination. Light reveals without forcing, touches without pressure, transforms without altering anything permanently. What makes this so calming is the consistency. Light never hurries, it never struggles, it simply finds its way, adapting to whatever stands in front of it. Whether it meets a smooth mirror or a rough stone, it responds with the same softness, reflecting, diffusing, or absorbing in gentle cooperation with the world around it. This quiet interaction shapes everything we know visually. Without light, the world would remain hidden, waiting behind a curtain of darkness. But with light, every object becomes part of a larger story, connected through the glow that surrounds it. And as you watch this silent motion unfold, a soft curiosity begins to rise. If light can behave with such calm intention on familiar surfaces, what happens when it meets something perfectly smooth, capable of shifting its direction with flawless precision? When light meets a mirror, something delicate unfolds, an interaction so precise that it almost feels like a conversation. Instead of scattering or fading, the beam approaches the smooth surface and turns gracefully, reflecting away as though guided by an unseen hand. Mirrors do not absorb light or reshape it. They simply redirect it with quiet, flawless accuracy, sending it onward in a new direction without disturbing its calm nature. Imagine standing in front of a mirror with a soft beam of sunlight falling across your face. That light bounces toward the glass, touches its surface, and returns to you in a perfect, steady reflection. Every tiny detail, every line, every shadow, every shimmer is carried back by the light, preserved with gentle clarity. It feels almost magical, even though it is simply the result of light obeying a natural rule. On a still morning, a small mirror can catch sunlight and scatter it across a wall, turning a blank surface into a glowing canvas. Even the smallest tilt changes the angle, creating new paths for light to follow. It is a reminder of how sensitive and responsive light can be, how easily it shifts, how elegantly it adapts. But mirrors also hold deeper mysteries. Perfectly smooth surfaces can make light behave in ways that reveal hidden principles of reflection, symmetry, and precision. They show how light moves, how it travels, and how it responds to the world around it. And as you watch that gentle beam turn across the mirror's surface, another thought floats quietly into view. If reflections can redirect light with such effortless grace, what happens when light begins to twist and spiral in ways far more mysterious than a simple bounce? Light often feels simple, like a straight beam moving from one place to another. But under the right conditions, it begins to twist, curling into spirals as if it has discovered a new way of dancing through space. This twisted form of light, known as polarization, moves with a quiet elegance. Instead of gliding in a flat wave, it rotates gently, turning like a ribbon floating in slow motion. The motion is delicate, almost like a breath being woven into a spiral. Imagine a beam of light entering a crystal or passing through a special filter. Something subtle happens. The light begins to rotate, not wildly, but with soft, measured precision. It spins as it moves forward, forming a helical pattern invisible to the eye unless revealed by the right material. It feels like watching a secret choreography, light discovering a way to express itself beyond simple brightness. This twisting doesn't change the speed of light, only the direction of its oscillation. But that small shift opens a world of hidden patterns. Some insects navigate using polarized light. Some cameras rely on it to see through reflections. Even the shimmering colors on certain beetles and butterfly wings are caused by spirals of light spinning in place. There is beauty in this unseen motion. It suggests that even something as familiar as light holds layers of complexity, quiet behaviors waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And as you imagine these delicate spirals drifting through space, a gentle curiosity rises. If light can twist into patterns we cannot normally see, what other secret designs might be hiding in the glow around us? Even in the most familiar moments, light carries patterns that remain hidden unless you know how to look. Thin films of soap, droplets of water, and the delicate surface of a bubble can reveal these secret designs with ease. When light bends, slows, or overlaps within these tiny structures, it creates shimmering streaks of color, soft blues, faint greens, shifting golds. These patterns feel almost alive, as though the world is quietly painting itself in motion. Imagine holding a bubble up to the sun. The surface begins to swirl with liquid colors, merging and separating like drifting silk. These shifting shades aren't pigments. They are the result of light waves interfering with one another, strengthening in some places, canceling in others. What you see is the hidden geometry of illumination, revealed for only a moment before the bubble bursts. The same patterns appear on oil floating atop water. A thin rainbow spreads across the surface, delicate and iridescent, shaped by layers thinner than a single strand of hair. Light reflects from the top and bottom of the film, forming patterns that the eye interprets as swirls of color. To most people, it looks beautiful. To light, it is simply its natural rhythm unfolding. Even everyday objects, CDs, feathers, certain shells, carry these iridescent signatures. They reflect structured microscopic surfaces that bend light into repeating patterns, creating color where none exists physically. These hidden designs remind you that light is more than brightness. It is structure, motion, and quiet complexity layered beneath the surface of everything you see. And as this realization sinks deeper, another question rises softly. If these patterns hide in ordinary moments, what illusions emerge when light begins to play with the mind itself? Light does not always show the world as it truly is. Sometimes it bends, reflects, or shifts in ways that trick the mind, creating illusions that feel real even though they are only gentle misunderstandings. These illusions are not mistakes. They are reminders of how closely the brain and light must work together to create the image of reality. Imagine looking at a road on a hot day. In the distance, a shimmering patch appears, rippling like water. But the moment you approach, it disappears. The road was never wet. The illusion formed because light bent through layers of warm air. Your eyes simply followed the message they received, unaware of the quiet trick beneath it. Or think of a straight object half submerged in water. It appears bent, angled sharply at the surface, even though it remains perfectly straight. The brain sees two different paths of light and merges them into a single picture, even when that picture is impossible. Shadows, too, can mislead. A shadow may stretch far longer than the object creating it, or merge with another shadow to form shapes that never existed. Light creates contrast, and the mind fills in the gaps, completing the story with assumptions that feel natural. These illusions are gentle invitations to question what you see. They remind you that perception is not a mirror of reality, but a careful interpretation shaped by the mind's expectations. And as you reflect on these quiet tricks of light, another thought begins to rise. If illusions can shape what we think we see, what happens when light itself bends on a massive scale, guided not by air or water, but by gravity? Far out in the vastness of space, light moves through regions shaped by forces too large for the human mind to fully imagine. When it passes near a massive object, like a star, a galaxy, or even a black hole, the path of the beam gently curves, as though gravity has reached out and placed a guiding hand upon it. This bending is not harsh or abrupt. It is smooth, subtle, and incredibly precise, shaping the journey of light across cosmic distances. Imagine a beam of starlight traveling straight through the darkness. As it nears a massive galaxy, the fabric of space around the galaxy softly dips inward. Light simply follows the curve, bending as though gliding along an invisible valley. To someone watching from far away, the star may appear in a slightly different place than where it truly is. Its image is stretched, duplicated, or magnified, all because gravity shaped the path of its glow. This effect is called gravitational lensing, and it allows astronomers to see things that would otherwise remain hidden. Distant galaxies, faint stars, even the edges of black holes. Gravity becomes a natural telescope, bending light into patterns that reveal what lies behind the curve. There is something soothing in this cosmic interaction. It shows that even in the farthest corners of space, light adapts with quiet grace, following the soft contours of the universe. Nothing resists, nothing fights, everything moves in harmony. And as you imagine this gentle bending across unimaginable distances, a soft curiosity appears. If gravity can shape the path of light on a cosmic scale, what new worlds might be revealed by the glow that curves around them? There are places in the universe so distant and so faint that their light would never reach us on its own. Galaxies hidden behind other galaxies, stars drowned in the glow of brighter neighbors, entire clusters tucked away behind veils of dust. Yet, through the quiet bending of gravity, we can see them, reflections stretched across space, magnified by the very forces that once kept them hidden. Light curves, stretches, and gathers in delicate arcs, revealing shapes the universe never intended to show openly. Imagine looking at a patch of sky that appears empty at first glance. With the right telescope, faint arcs and soft crescents begin to appear, distorted echoes of distant galaxies, their images stretched like reflections on rippling water. These shapes are not accidents. They are the result of gravitational lensing, the gentle warping of space that turns massive cosmic objects into lenses far beyond anything humans could build. Through these natural lenses, astronomers have seen galaxies that existed not long after the birth of the universe. They have uncovered faint structures, star-forming regions, and patterns of light that would otherwise remain forever unknowable. It is as though the universe occasionally allows us a hidden doorway, a brief glimpse behind the curtain of darkness. And what makes this even more beautiful is the silence of it all. No explosion, no disturbance, just light taking the most graceful path available, curved by gravity's soft pull. As you imagine these distant arcs glowing quietly in space, a gentle thought arises. If gravity can help us see what once seemed invisible, what other secrets might unfold when we look at the light closer to home, where its behavior becomes even more surprising? Though light is known for its incredible speed, it does not always move at its fastest. When it enters certain materials, water, glass, crystal, its pace gently slows, as if taking a calm breath before continuing its journey. It doesn't lose strength or purpose. It simply adapts to the environment around it, flowing with the rhythm of whatever medium it enters. Imagine a beam of light moving freely through empty space, gliding with perfect ease. Then it reaches the surface of a lake. The moment it enters the water, it changes. The wavefront compresses slightly, its journey deepens, and its movement becomes quieter, more deliberate. The light bends downward, revealing details beneath the surface that were hidden from view a moment before. In glass, light slows even more. It moves through lenses with precision so gentle that it allows us to magnify distant stars, read tiny text, and reshape the very way we see the world. Every camera, every eyeglass, every telescope depends on this simple truth. Light speed is not absolute. It can pause, linger, and gather itself before returning to its faster pace. Even crystals have their own influence. Certain ones slow light unevenly, splitting a single beam into two paths, each moving at a slightly different speed. This delicate separation creates shimmering effects, soft rainbows, and the subtle play of color found in precious stones. And as you picture light moving through these different worlds, air, water, glass, crystal, a gentle curiosity rises. If light can slow so gracefully, adjusting to every material it meets, what happens when conditions become extreme enough to bring that motion to a complete stop? It sounds impossible at first, stopping something that moves faster than anything in the universe. And yet, in quiet laboratories filled with ultra-cold atoms and delicate instruments, scientists have learned how to bring light to a complete standstill, not by trapping it physically and not by blocking it, but by guiding it into a state where its motion gently fades, slowing until it becomes perfectly still, resting inside matter like a whispered thought waiting to be released. Imagine a cloud of atoms cooled to a temperature so low that motion nearly stops. Light enters this frozen world carefully, nudged by magnetic fields and tuned lasers. As the atoms interact with the photon, they reshape the environment around it, slowing its journey until, for a brief moment, time almost forgets to move. The photon becomes imprinted in the cloud, stored like a memory. In the delicate arrangement of particles, it is still light, but paused, held quietly in place. What makes this moment so mesmerizing is the gentleness of it. There is no violence, no collision, no forceful interruption. Light simply eases into stillness, as if choosing to rest for a while. And when the scientists release it, the photon resumes its path exactly as before, carrying its information forward as though nothing had happened. This ability to pause light opens possibilities: quantum memory, advanced communication, new ways of shaping information. But beyond the technology, there is poetry in the idea itself. Even the fastest traveler in the universe can find a moment of perfect stillness. And as this image settles, a quiet thought arises. If light can stop so peacefully in the right conditions, how much more might it reveal when it returns to the world we see every day? Everything you see, every shape you recognize, every detail that feels familiar, none of it would exist without light guiding your perception. Light is not just a glow or a gentle presence. It is the very foundation of sight itself. It outlines edges, reveals depth, and gives texture to the world in ways your mind interprets instantly, without effort. Without light, the world would remain a hidden landscape, present but unreachable. Imagine walking into a quiet room at dusk. The last rays of the day slip across the floor, revealing shadows you didn't notice before. The grain of wood becomes clearer. The folds in fabric seem deeper. Each object takes on meaning because light decides how much of it you are allowed to see. Even the direction of the light changes everything. A soft glow makes objects feel gentle, while a sharp angle creates contrast and form. This shaping isn't just visual, it influences emotion. A warm light can make a room feel safe and inviting. A cool light can make the same room feel calm and distant. Light sculpts not just the physical world, but the mood wrapped around it. It becomes a silent storyteller, guiding your eyes to certain places, softening others, deciding what stands out and what retreats into the background. And the most beautiful part is how natural it feels. You rarely think about this shaping, yet light performs it constantly, turning the world into something you can understand. As you consider this quiet influence, a soft awareness begins to rise. If light shapes your reality so effortlessly, how might it shape the emotions and memories tied to every moment you see? There are certain lights you never forget, even long after the moments have passed. The soft glow of a childhood morning, slipping gently through a small window, the warm flicker of a lamp on nights when the world felt too big, the way sunlight filtered through leaves during quiet walks, scattering shifting patterns across your hands. These memories don't just stay in the mind, they settle into the heart, carried like small lanterns through the years. Light has a way of attaching itself to emotion. A sunset becomes tied to someone you once sat beside. A dim hallway glow recalls evenings when you felt comforted without understanding why. Even the simple shine of a kitchen bulb can hold the memory of voices, laughter, or stillness. These moments linger not because of their brightness, but because of the feeling wrapped inside them. Think of a time when a warm, gentle light made you pause. The room wasn't extraordinary, the moment wasn't dramatic, yet something in the glow made you feel safe, present, and quietly connected to the world around you. Light becomes a keeper of small truths, those soft moments when life felt simple and steady. Even now, when a familiar shade falls across a surface, a memory can return without warning. Light does not force recollection, it invites it. It opens the door softly and lets you wander inside your past with a calm, unhurried step. And as you drift through these remembered glows, one thought rises like a quiet breath. If certain lights stay with us for a lifetime, how many of our emotions are shaped by the glow that surrounds us each day? Light doesn't just reveal the world, it guides the way you feel it. A warm lamp can soften the edges of a difficult day. A cool morning sky can quiet your thoughts before you speak a single word. Even the faint glow of a distant streetlight can bring a sense of company on nights when everything feels still. Emotion and illumination move together like tides, each shaping the other in gentle, unseen ways. Imagine sitting in a room lit only by a soft yellow bulb. The shadows settle low, the colors melt into gentle tones, and something inside you slows. Your breath deepens, your shoulders drop. Warm light carries reassurance. It echoes the glow of fire, sunrise, closeness. It tells the body that it is safe. Now imagine the soft blue of early dawn. The world feels cool and wide, full of possibility, yet hushed. This light doesn't warm the heart the way golden tones do. It clears the mind instead. It creates space between thoughts, loosening their grip. It gives you room to breathe. Light even affects memory. An emotion felt in a certain glow becomes tied to that shade forever. Happiness under afternoon sun feels different from happiness beneath soft moonlight. Each type of light becomes a frame around experience, tinting it with subtle meaning. You may not notice these changes as they happen, but your body does. Your mind responds quietly, adjusting mood and thought like gentle waves responding to the pull of light. And as you think about the way illumination shapes emotion, a soft curiosity emerges. If light can guide how we feel in subtle ways, how might the glow of morning and night shape the deeper rhythm of our lives? There's something uniquely comforting about the warmth of morning light. It doesn't arrive all at once. It begins softly, slipping across the horizon with a calm patience, touching the world like a gentle hand. Before the day fully wakes, this light drifts through windows, filling rooms with a quiet golden glow that feels almost like a warm breath against the skin. It brings a sense of beginning, not loud or urgent, but steady, reassuring, and hopeful. Step outside in the early hours, and you'll feel it immediately. The cool air meets the warmth of the rising sun, creating a balance that settles the senses. Shadows stretch long and soft. Colors appear muted at first, then slowly brighten as the light becomes richer. Morning light has a way of making everything seem new, as though the world has pressed a reset button sometime during the night. Even your body responds to it. This gentle glow tells your inner rhythm that it's time to rise, time to breathe a little deeper, time to let the stillness fade into quiet clarity. The warmth eases your thoughts into motion without rushing them. It invites you into the day with softness rather than demand. There is a peaceful honesty in morning light. It doesn't force anything. It simply arrives, bringing with it the promise of possibility wrapped in calm brightness. And as you stand in that early glow, letting it warm your face and open your eyes, a soft thought forms within you. If morning light can lift the spirit so gently, What mysteries unfold when the world is bathed in the cool silver of moonlight? Moonlight is a different kind of glow, cooler, quieter, touched with a softness that seems to slow time. Where sunlight energizes, moonlight soothes. It spreads not with warmth, but with a calm, silver clarity that settles gently over everything it touches. Walk outside beneath a full moon, and the world feels hushed, as though wrapped in a delicate blanket of stillness. Even familiar places take on a dreamlike quality, softened by this pale, soothing light. Moonlight is not its own creation. It is sunlight transformed. Reflected from the surface of the moon, it returns to Earth softened, dimmed, and calmed. It feels like the universe offering a quieter version of daytime, one meant not for activity, but for reflection. Trees cast long blue shadows, roads appear cooler and smoother. Even the air feels different, lighter, slower, as though carrying an unspoken invitation to breathe deeply. There's a quiet mystery in the way moonlight interacts with the night. It doesn't illuminate everything, only hints at shapes, allowing the imagination to fill in the spaces left untouched. This partial light creates room for wonder, letting the mind drift without boundaries. Under moonlight, thoughts become softer, memories rise more gently, and the world feels just a little more magical. And as you stand beneath its silvery glow, you may feel a connection to something ancient, something shared by everyone who has ever gazed at the night sky. Moonlight has guided travelers, comforted lonely hearts, and inspired countless stories. And as this cool glow settles over the world, a gentle question appears. If moonlight carries such quiet beauty, what stories are whispered by the starlight, shining from far beyond our reach? Every night, when you look up at the sky, you are witnessing light that has been traveling across the universe for longer than human memory can hold. A single ray of starlight may have begun its journey before entire civilizations existed, before mountains took shape, before even Earth looked the way it does now. Yet that same ancient glow drifts quietly through space and arrives gently in your eyes, completing a journey so vast that it feels almost unreal. Picture a star millions of light years away. In its burning heart, photons are born, pushed outward through layers of heat and pressure until they finally break free into open space. Once released, they glide through the cosmos without slowing, passing nebulae, drifting past dark clouds of dust, weaving between galaxies. They encounter nothing that can stop them, only the silent openness of space stretching out in every direction. By the time that faint starlight reaches Earth, it carries not only its glow, but also a memory of where it came from. You are seeing a star not as it is now, but as it once was, preserved in the softness of its light. It is a gentle message from the past, a reminder of how immense and interconnected the universe truly is. There is something peaceful about this idea. Starlight does not hurry. It does not tire. It simply continues its ancient journey until, at last, it reaches someone who happens to glance upward at the perfect moment. And as you feel that glow reaching across eternity, a quiet question forms. If starlight can travel so far to reach you, what other lights are already on their way, drifting silently through the dark? Not all light comes from the world around you. Some of it forms quietly inside your mind, illuminations of memory, clarity, understanding, and emotion. The mind has its own way of creating brightness, its own language of insight that feels like light moving through the inner landscape. Sometimes it appears as a sudden realization, a gentle spark that makes something clear. Other times, it arrives as a soft, warm feeling that fills you from within. Think about the moments when an idea appears unexpectedly, as if a small lamp has been lit inside your thoughts. Nothing physical has changed, yet everything feels clearer. Or consider the calm that washes over you during reflection, when the mind produces a kind of inner glow that smooths the edges of worry. These moments are not made of photons, yet they feel luminous, like light without form. Even dreams are illuminated by this inner glow. Scenes unfold, sometimes bright, sometimes muted, shaped entirely by the quiet creativity of the mind. Memory works the same way, casting its own soft light on the past, choosing which moments to brighten and which to leave gently in shadow. This inner brightness is deeply personal. It grows from your experiences, your hopes, your fears, and the stories you've carried throughout your life. Even in darkness, your mind continues to glow with imagination and meaning, shaping the way you understand the world. And as you feel this inner light stirring softly, another thought begins to rise. If the mind can create its own gentle illumination, what other forms of light might comfort and heal the deeper parts of who you are? There are moments when the world feels heavy, when thoughts settle too loudly, and the mind begins to wander into places that feel overwhelming. In those moments, light becomes more than brightness. It becomes comfort. A soft lamp glowing in the corner of a room can ease the tension in your chest. A gentle beam stretching across the floor can quiet the noise inside your mind. Even the faint shimmer of a candle can steady your breath, reminding you that calm is still within reach. Light has a way of touching the nervous system without ever laying a hand on it. Warm tones slow the heartbeat, relaxing the body as though whispering that it is safe to unwind. Soft shadows create pockets of stillness, giving the mind room to breathe. And dim, steady lighting helps silence the parts of the brain that stay alert in harsh brightness. Light, in these moments, becomes a quiet companion. Think of the comfort of sitting near a warm glow on a quiet night. There is no demand, no rush, no expectation, only presence. The light doesn't ask you to be anything. It doesn't push away the darkness. It simply shares space with it, gently balancing the room. This coexistence brings a feeling of stability, a reminder that calm can exist even when things feel uncertain. And as that gentle glow fills the room, you feel yourself letting go just a little more. Your breath softens, your thoughts slow. The world becomes easier to sit with. And in that softness, a quiet thought rises. If light can comfort you so effortlessly, what glow do you carry with you as you move through your own days? There is a kind of light that doesn't shine from lamps or stars. It lives inside you, woven from your memories, your kindness, your small moments of courage, and the quiet hope you hold even on difficult days. This inner light grows slowly over time, shaped by the experiences that softened you, strengthened you, or taught you something gentle about the world. You carry it with you, often without realizing how brightly it glows. Think about the times you helped someone with nothing to gain, or the moments when you offered comfort, listened softly, or showed patience. These small acts leave traces, tiny sparks of warmth that remain within you long after the moment has passed. They become part of the inner glow you shine into the world, sometimes without even knowing it. Even the challenges you've faced contribute to this light. Each moment of resilience, each quiet decision to keep moving forward creates a deeper, steadier brightness. It's not loud or dramatic. It's the kind of light that shows up when someone needs reassurance, when you choose kindness over anger, when you remain gentle despite everything. This glow travels with you, shaping the way you see others and the way others feel around you. It's the light people notice, not with their eyes, but with their hearts. And as you recognize this quiet radiance within yourself, another thought begins to drift into focus. If you carry this inner glow forward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see, then perhaps you're part of a much larger light, one that connects every moment, every memory, every gentle act you've ever shared. When you look up at the night sky, it can feel like the universe exists far beyond your reach, but in truth, you are deeply connected to it. Every atom in your body was once part of a star. Every breath you take contains particles shaped by cosmic events older than Earth itself. And every moment you spend beneath the sky is touched by ancient starlight that has traveled across time just to reach your eyes. The universe glows around you, but it also glows through you. Think of the light from distant galaxies drifting gently across the dark. It passes planets, nebulae, and silent regions of space before arriving here, meeting your gaze in a quiet exchange. In that moment, you are part of the story. You are the final step in a journey that began long before you were born. The universe does not shine at you. It shines with you, intertwining your presence with its light. This connection is subtle but powerful. The same elements that make stars burn softly in the night sky live within your blood, your bones, your breath. When you feel awe beneath the stars, it is not a reaction to something foreign. It is recognition, your body remembering where it once belonged. And as you sit beneath that endless sky, a calm realization spreads through you. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of its glow, shaped by the same forces, illuminated by the same light. And with that awareness, one final thought rises. If the universe glows through you, then every quiet step you take carries a little piece of that cosmic light into the world. There comes a moment, after all the wonder and all the drifting thoughts, when the world finally softens into stillness. The light around you becomes gentle, settling into its calmest form. Shadows relax, colors dim, and everything seems to breathe more slowly. In this quiet glow, you are invited to rest, not just your body, but your mind, your memories, your hopes, and all the small things you've carried through the day. Imagine lying beneath a soft light that neither pulls your attention nor fades into complete darkness. It simply exists beside you, offering comfort without needing to be noticed. Your thoughts begin to untangle. The rhythm of your breathing steadies. You feel yourself becoming lighter, drifting into the kind of peace that only arrives when the world finally stops asking anything of you. This glow, whether from a distant star, a quiet lamp, or the gentle presence of your own inner calm, wraps around you like a blanket. It allows you to float, weightless, in a space where nothing is urgent and every moment belongs only to you. You don't need to understand anything. You don't need to solve anything. You only need to rest. And as you sink deeper into this softness, the universe continues its slow, steady motion around you. Light travels, stars shimmer, the world turns, all while you drift in perfect peace. And in this final moment, With the quiet glow settling into your thoughts, a gentle whisper seems to linger in the air. Rest now. The light will continue its journey even as you close your eyes and let yourself drift into sleep.